So, there's the physical attributes. And oh, by the way, I've noticed that with physical attributes, majority of the people do not like themselves. They don't like the hand that you're dealt. So either, you're too tall or you're too short. You're too skinny or you're too fat. You got brown eyes, oh man, I don't have blue eyes. Brown hair, blonde hair. Now, hair for me is an issue. So we're gonna skip that. It's too painful. How about your nose? Is it too big, too little, just right? Too fat, too skinny? Ears. Ears are a big one. How are your ears? You like your ears?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then feet. Feet too big, too far. Hey, there's always something that you don't like about yourself. Is that right? Something. Now, this comes from a number of places, by the way. Some of it has to do with when you're in school and your teachers. It's amazing, teachers have such a powerful impact on us. I remember we had a girl on staff with us. Her family she was born and raised, she's American, but she was born and raised in Israel. Her parents were missionaries. And she was one of these girls that was gorgeous. If you looked at her, maybe not perfect, but pretty doggone perfect. Gorgeous girl, smart, fun, loving, just a really good girl, nice girl. As a matter of fact, I had so many guys on my base who said, they kept coming to me, Doug, I think you have a word of the Lord for it. Finally, I said, I'd see him coming, I'd say, hey, pick a number and get in line. You're like number 12 right now, so your hopes aren't very good. But so one day I'm talking to Deb about something, I forget what it was, and we were, it wasn't kind of a counseling thing. We were talking, and out of the blue, she said, I just hate myself. I go, what? I think, I've got a lot of reasons to hate myself. Would you? Well, come to find out, we're talking, and she said, I remember I was in the 3rd grade. I was in a class, and I had done a paper or done something, and I did it wrong. And the teacher grabbed my paper and held it up and said, Debbie, you are so stupid. And, just embarrassed her beyond, And from that point on, guess what she thought about herself?
Stupid.
That message kept coming back. Debbie, you're so stupid. You're so stupid. You can do nothing right. Interesting thing. That was the one flaw she might have had, was that she always seemed to mess up somehow. If she was cleaning the table or something, she'd knock a glass off. Or if she was doing something, she always seemed to make some kind of a silly mistake. And when she told me this, then I thought, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense now. Her teachers said she was stupid, and in her mind, she thinks she's a failure. She thinks she's a stupid failure. So, doesn't matter what you look like, it's the messages you carry in your head that is going to determine what you think about yourself. Being bullied or teased about something. Being invited to a party sort of invited to a party, but the person who was throwing the party didn't want you there. That could be a little traumatic, but not necessarily totally traumatic. But yeah, bullying. It doesn't take much to be, you can find something about somebody to bully and tease them about. All of us, you can look at somebody and find their name or their whatever their attribute is and make fun of them and tease them. And at one level, sometimes it just goes whoop over your head, and then sometimes it sticks. And you go, oh man, I am this or I am that. Again, negative things that people say about you. Particularly parents, I think. This is one. When obviously, you need to be corrected as a child. You need to have guidelines, you need to have boundaries. Your parents need to, they're not gonna be perfect, but whatever your parents says to you oftentimes, over and over and over again, becomes your life message. Again, I remember talking to, I'd given I don't know, I'd spoken to church somewhere, and when I was done, this guy comes walking up to me, and again, a nice-looking guy, well-dressed, nothing wrong with it at all, I could see. And we were just chatting a bit, and he said, I said, something, what's going on? He said, I am so angry. And I said, oh, really? Why? And he said, my father died. And I said, oh, what's that about? He said, well, my dad, when I was growing up, constantly said to me, you're no good. You're never going to amount to anything. You can't do anything right. And he said, my whole life, my father berated me. And so I said, I'm going to show him what I can do. And he said, I worked my butt off in order to be successful. And he said, finally, I'm quite successful. And then my dad dies. And I don't have anything to prove to anybody anymore. I don't know what to do. And so his whole life message was, you're no good, you can't do anything. Now, some people would just melt and not do. He responded in anger and bitterness and said, I'm going to be a success. You'd be surprised the number of people that are out there, the high achievers, their motivation is, it's not sustainable, guys. It's not sustainable because it's either anger or some deep inner message they've got that they're trying to prove themselves. Or comparing yourself to other people. Now, you probably don't do that, but I do. I look at me, and then I look at somebody, and I go, oh man, if I was only, if only, and that's one of the things too that we think, man, if I was just something else, or somebody else, then it would be okay. And that's called delusional thinking, but it happens. Now, here's the thing, for you personally, what is your life message? What is your life message? Here's one way to tell. When you do something really stupid, and I'm assuming we all do, I know I do. When you do something really dumb, or you make a silly mistake, or a big mistake that's very costly, what do you say to yourself? What do you call yourself? I may not be able to say it out loud, because you go, do you say, oh, that was a silly mistake, but I'm only human, that's okay, no worries, I'm good. Or you say, ah, you idiot, can't do anything, oh man, I'm always, or whatever that message is. Anybody want to share your message?
You're better than that. That's what I tell myself. I say you're better than that.
You're better than that, huh?
Yeah.
You can do better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad. Anybody else? Yes.
If I do this, my kids will also do this. So I have to be who I want my kids to become.
Oh, that's very good.
And I remember I told myself that I was like maybe 8 years old. I was so young, and I was like, that was really directing me to take, directing me to take the right decisions.
Huh? Eight's pretty young to have kids, but
Yeah.
I guess maybe not in Norway, right? Pretty cold up there. No, I should take your head. Yeah, that's very good. I think that's helpful. Yes.
One that I used to think a lot, not much anymore, is I don't want to end up like my father.
There you go. Yeah. Because the interesting is it's called an emotional focus. again, we had a girl in one of our DTSs, and I was talking to her, and she said, she was having some issues, and I said, what's going on? What's the background? She said, well, she said, I grew up in a situation where my dad was an alcoholic, and he was terribly abusive to my mom and to us as kids. And she said, I hated my dad. I hated him. But she said, by the time I was 21, I was an alcoholic. So oftentimes, you become what you focus on. And if you hate somebody for a long period of time, you got to stay focused on them. And the more you focus on them, the more like them you're going to be. So that's why forgiveness is so powerful. Because forgiveness releases you from that to go on to be who. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I got carried. Okay, we will take a 15-minute break. Okay, when you hear the bell, and then after you salivate, you can come back. We'll be back at 25 till. How's that?
Doggo.